Morning, guys. We're in Revelation chapter 21, verse 21, and we're looking at the absolute beauty of heaven and all its glory, specifically on the aspects of gold and pearls. And these were pretty much the most precious things that the earth could, that we can fathom in the earth. You know, if we go back to chapter 17, verse 4, it says, "The woman was clothed in purple and scarlet, adorned with gold, precious stones, and pearls." Here we see the gold and the pearls, and yet that city was full of abominations, but that was the riches of the time. So the most precious things we know are these things like pearls, and as we learn a little bit more about these things, we actually see the glory of God more and more. As I was saying, we can't fathom each precious stone and what it represents and all its significance, but as God reveals certain things to us, it just magnifies that glory. So let's read the verse in 21. "And the 12 gates were 12 pearls." So straight away, one pearl is one gate. If you picture the size of the biggest pearl today, some say it was about 30 centimeters. Apparently they found one about 60 centimeters in length, not perfectly round, worth $100 million. So 60 odd centimeters, and this gate is 2,400 kilometers high, one pearl. It just shows you the significance of how great God's place is. And when you even start to think and fathom how are pearls made, just by allowing a little bit of impurity into the shell of the pearl, and then the pearl starts to make this round protective layer around it. And as we consider that as Christ was pierced for our iniquities, and he covers our sin, and he is the pearl of great price. So in one sense, Christ is that gate. And these gates stay open in heaven because we can enter into his presence. We are with Jesus. He has paid the price. And so when you just consider the height and how big that pearl is, and how magnificent, and the magnitude of the sin that's been covered, that impurity that gets into that shell, and how that shell wraps itself around with that hard, beautiful white pearl. And so in every sense, as we look at these things, they always point to the purity of heaven and the magnitude of heaven. And then he goes on to say, "And the streets of the city was pure gold, like transparent glass." And so even gold, it gets its color from the impurities. And when you take those impurities out, it becomes like this beautiful transparent glass. And even if you look at the aspects of gold, the fact that it's so dense, yet it's so pliable. You don't have a material like that. They can hammer that gold out thin, paper thin. And it's absolutely pure. And it's not just the streets, because if we look in, going back to verse 18, "The wall was built of jasper, while the city was pure gold, like glass, like clear glass." So the city, everything other than the buildings in that, and the streets are paved with this gold, which is absolutely 100% pure. Everything is of immense value, immense impurity, absolutely glorious. And even, as I learn different aspects of how a pearl is formed, and how gold is made, we can only marvel, but it's even greater than we can even picture or even describe. And so like a value, $100 million for that size pearl. How much value is a 2,400 kilometer high gate? Presuming that the height is the same of the walls. We don't really know, but the point is, it's absolutely beautiful. And these doors, just want to end with this. Jesus says, "I am the door and I am the way," in John 10. And the only way to get into heaven is through him. And so we need to be clothed with the purity of Christ, so that we can be one day in that glorious place, worshiping him forever and ever. So I trust you have a wonderful day. God bless.